Yes, there's a formula for wealth, and here it is. It's not a difficult one. But in order to make it work, you need to understand your financial situation and how to apply it. Otherwise, it's useless. Does it sound difficult? Actually, if you follow a few steps, it's pretty straightforward. But you need to be driven and focused. I'm going to give you a few steps and the overall direction, and you'll see, it's really straightforward. We'll take one step at a time and we'll find ways to make it work for your situation. So if you want to try to become wealthy, this video is for you. My name is Yoram from Economia. Welcome back to the channel. Let's get started. We'll go through the formula and how to apply it to climb the wealth ladder in a minute. But first, we need to understand what is wealth, or what is your net worth. You have the dictionary definition that you can see here, but it doesn't tell us much. Actually, you can understand net worth or wealth as equal to your assets minus your liabilities. In other words, your assets is what you own and liabilities is what you owe to other people. And the more you have in assets and the less liabilities you have, the more wealth you have. It actually varies depending on where you live, what's your family situation, and your age, stages of life, we can say as well. So now that we have put that together, let's go directly into the meat of it. How do you apply the formula to climb the wealth ladder? You need to know what are the levels that you need to climb, and you can't climb them all at once. You need to go step by step. But how do you get there in the first place, you may ask? You need to learn over time, invest and develop your knowledge and increase your field of investment. And actually the overall idea of wealth level comes from someone that's really, really good in terms of personal finance that I read a lot. He's from Singapore and his name is Keith, and he has a website called investmentmodes.com. I link it down below. And he has a very interesting approach. So I borrowed a few graphs and a few ideas from him, and I'm going to use them throughout this video. So at first, you are what's called a dependent. It means that your debt payments, or what you owe, is larger than what you are getting, than your income. And you need help from others to make it work. You need from parents, from the government. Usually that's when you start in life, right? It's most of the time, or if you fall on hard time as well. The next level is level 1, called solvency. Basically it means that you're able to pay all your debt, all your obligation, your liabilities with your own income, and you don't depend on the income of somebody else. So at least you make ends meet and you balance your income compared to your liabilities. Then we go to stage 3. This is called financial stability. In there, not only you're able to go stage 2, but on top you've created your emergency fund. So you have money on the side to be able to face any emergency. And level 3 is called debt freedom. You've paid all your high interest debt. Think about a car debt, credit card debt, consumer debt, and the only debt maybe you haven't paid is your mortgage for your home, and you just have to pay for your living and current expenses. How do you get there, you're gonna ask? Here are a few tips that you can use. And before I go there, remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy on YouTube talking about my own experience, so please do your own research and talk to a professional. The first tip is to make a budget. I know, that's the boring part, but if you don't know how much is coming in and how things are coming out of your pocket, you're never gonna get a hang of it. So you need to list up all your expenses and see where your money is going. It's not a difficult thing to do. There are a lot of apps out there to help you. Maybe your bank has an app, or just you use a spreadsheet. Actually, I made a complete video out of it that I'm linking down below, so you can deep dive in that. And there's a free template you can use as well. The tip number 2 is actually to balance said budget. Now you realize if you're spending too much and why you're spending too much, so you can reduce or change your spending. There are a lot of ways where you can balance the budget. Again, the video I was mentioning would be your best way to get started. Tip number 3 is to get rid of high interest debt. I mentioned earlier credit card debt, maybe you have student loans, maybe you have car loan or consumer loans. Concentrate on those to be able to reduce those debt, because this is holding you back. So take care of all those debts. Tip number 4, I was just mentioning, you need an emergency fund. This is money you put on the side in case of an emergency, as the name indicates. So it should be your living expenses between 6 to 9 months of living expenses. Gives you better cushion, and in case something happens, if you have to stop working, if you lose your job, you have time to turn around and recover. This is important. You just take money and put in a saving account and you do not touch it. Now that we've discussed those points and we're at step 3, we're going to jump into step 4, and that's where it becomes really interesting, and we're going to start using this wealth formula. To get started, we need to understand two concepts: the wealth fund and the wealth machine. Wealth fund is where all your extra money goes for saving and actually grows over time, as you can see on the screen. This is different from the emergency fund, right? This is separate. Once you have your emergency fund, you start growing and creating your wealth fund. Wealth machines are the investments in which you put your wealth fund to make it grow bigger and produce additional income. And you have a few examples on the screen. Does it make sense? So you have the wealth fund and the wealth machine. Now that you understand those two concepts, how do you make them work? You have to be able to pay yourself first. Here's a very good definition.
And what we mean by pay yourself first is this: with every single dollar that comes into your household, every single dollar, you take a percentage off the top. So what I did is, with every single dollar that came in, this is when I had very little money, I took 30% off the top. 10% went into a savings account, 10% went into an investment account, and 10% went into a charity or tithing account.
So as you can see, as for creating the emergency fund, every time you receive money, you shave off a part of it, 10%, 20%, and you put that into your wealth fund to grow it over time and after bring your money into your wealth machine. If you have made it this far, thank you very much. If you like this type of content, do not hesitate to subscribe. We publish every week. It would help us a lot, and it would help show this video and spread the content to more people. Thank you again. Let's continue. Now that we understand wealth fund, wealth machines, and how to pay yourself first, now we go to the step 4, which is 1 year of annual expense. It means that in your wealth fund, you've managed to put 1 year of annual expense. So if something happened for 1 year, everything is covered. So you're starting to grow your net worth. If we go to step 5, this is a big step up. It's not 1 year, but it is 5 years of annual expense that you have saved. That gives you a lot of optionality. You can stop working for a few years, train and go to another professional field, or you can take care of family for some time. This gives you a lot of options and also a lot of peace of mind. And to be able to go step 4 and step 5, it means that the money that you're putting in your wealth fund is starting to go into your wealth machine and grow and start producing wealth by increasing its value. If it's stocks, it goes up. If it's rental property, or if it's dividend, or if it's interest income, you're starting to get a little bit of income coming in, additional income. It doesn't make you completely independent, but it's starting to grow your wealth fund, and the money that's created by your wealth machine goes in your wealth fund and continues growing this pool of money, your wealth. Step 6, it means you have 10 years of annual expenses that are saved in your wealth fund. So your wealth fund is quite big now, really big, and you have a lot of investment in your wealth machines producing a lot of revenue. And even though you're working, you may be employed or you may have your own work, you're not limited by the 24-hour day to produce money, because time is limited. Money is working as you sleep. Money is working for you. There's passive income in your wealth machine, and this is really, really important, and it grows bigger and bigger. And if you have 10 years, honestly, you can maybe raise kids, taking care of loved ones who need some support. For 10 years, you have time in front of you. Now we're going to go to step 7, and we are honestly into fairy tale territory, and now you're really very wealthy and you're using the wealth formula really, really well. What it means is that the money, the income from your wealth machine going into your wealth fund, the cash flow covers your annual expense. Of course, there's nothing crazy. You're not going to buy an expensive car or jet yet, but your current expenses are covered. Now we go to step 8. We're going to go very fast because there you are wealthy now. Step 8 means that the cash flow that's produced by your wealth machine and your wealth fund is actually bigger than your current annual expense. Meaning you cover your expense and you still have extra money there. What it means is that if you don't make crazy spending, you would not have to work anymore in your life. You're set. It's a really good stage to be in, and you're mastering the wealth formula. Step 9 is financial freedom. It means that on top of covering your annual expenses and having extra, you can go and have something crazy, change your car, buy a new house, go on a trip, you're okay. As long as you don't go crazy on spending, you're covered. You really have a nice cushion and you can do whatever you want. Maybe it's charity, maybe it's an NGO. You really have all the choices you want. And finally, step 10 in the wealth ladder, it's called abundance, financial abundance. You have more money than you'll ever need. You can cover your current expenses, a few extras, and some more. You're completely set for the rest of your life because you understand the wealth machine by which your wealth fund is putting money into your wealth machine and they're producing enough value, enough streams of incomes to cover any expense you may have. And now you have it. This is how you become wealthy. So here is our wealth formula. It's not complicated, but you need to be driven, you need to be focused and disciplined, and you need to keep building your wealth machines to create different streams of income and grow your wealth fund. Don't try to climb the ladder all at once. Small steps, small wins are going to help you go forward. I give you a lot of tips, but if you need some extra focus on budgeting, I recommend watching this video. And if you are a bit more advanced on investment, I recommend watching that video. Thank you again for watching. If you like this video or learned something, please give it a like. Do not hesitate to subscribe and leave a comment down below if you have more advice or any more ideas. Thank you again, and until next time, goodbye.